got that West Coast bounce, baby. I like it.
The most handsome podcast in all the land is back with a West Coast feel.
Man, oh man, are we ever? And wasn't that what, man? I like the bounce. We got to keep that. We got to keep that West Coast bounce, baby. Gets things right. Gets things right.
Gotta keep everybody in the wild, wild west.
Boy, talk about it, man. It was tough to get the weather right this week. The one time that that the sportsman racers get some crazy news about how they're changing the run order, and it works out for the better for everybody.
Yeah, the NHRA definitely made a good call this weekend. Hindsight obviously is 2020, but they did great. We got the call email on Wednesday notifying us that we were going straight into first round, no time runs, and things got a little bit crazy for the top dragster, top sportsman, and comp fields because first off, if they laddered it by points. That would mean that Darian Bosch would automatically lose the Top Dragster World Championship because his competitor in second place would have a first round bye, and that would automatically put her ahead of him. So NHRA reviewed their decision, made the right call to give Top Dragster, Top Sportsman, and Comp all a time run, well, qualifying run anyway, and put out a ladder for those categories.
I think it was the right move, man, and turned out they had just enough time to fit it all in, so it worked out. And yeah, that would have been a tough way. That'd have been a tough way to see yourself slip down the board. So I'm glad it didn't come to that for our sportsman racers.
Yeah, and sorry, obviously we're talking about the World Finals in Pomona.
World Finals, champions of the world.
Don't forget it.
That's right.
But yeah, lots of good racing down there. Unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't let the pros get in, but champions were crowned there as well. They decided to cancel the remainder of the event. Unfortunate circumstances, but I don't really think there's anything else they could do. They can't. The racers can't afford to stay there for another week.
Yeah.
Logistically, hotels and all your guys that are working for you, it doesn't make sense to postpone it or move it to another track, right?
Not if unless you're gonna do it by a few weeks, right? You can't just postpone it till the next weekend or something. You'd have to give people some breathing room, a little bit of turnaround time to make it all happen again. So yeah, I don't know what else they could have done. And we can get into that a little bit towards the end too. I want to get back to the no time runs. When that announcement came out, I think I saw it like as they posted it, 1 minute from when they posted it, and I was like, my eyebrows went up, and then I immediately was glued to the internet because I'm like, this is going to blow up the internet for sure. So I'm creeping all the sportsmen, groups and the forums, and and predictably, the internet was a buzz. But in the end, it worked out, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Hold 5 and drive that thing at the stripe, right? Like, and you saw a ton of that, especially in the first 2 rounds, where people had a number on the board they knew they could run, and there was a whole lot of stripe driving going on, and I think it made it fun, man. What up, my man George GBR in the house? What's up, dog? I'll be watching you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. So I think it made it interesting, and there was no like egregious, misses or anything. It made for some good racing, man. And a little blind squirrel at the World Finals, man. Like that's no one's gonna forget about that. No one's gonna not remember that one time at the World Finals where they went straight to round 1. So I think it was cool. Not ideal, but it worked out, and it was, from a fan's perspective, is pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. As soon as I got the email, I was calling you right away, and I feel like maybe that I was one of the few people that was super excited for it. I mean, I feel like that kind of racing kind of plays into my driving style. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me first round. I showed up. I was first pair out, baby.
Dude, I loved it too. I loved
World
it.
Finals.
You and Cal. I loved it, man. And you guys had a lap. I mean, you guys threw down a lap too, man. So that was super sick.
Yeah, we're both mid-20s and a couple thou under a pair, and it's just like, I mean, Can't draw it up any better than that.
No, man, it was like 23 to a 27 or 22 to 25, something like that. And and you guys are down there trying to figure out which one of y'all wanted to take that thing. And no, it was fun, man. I thought it was cool.
Oh yeah.
Way to kick things off, buddy. Way to take one for the team and kick things off.
Well, there were some good drivers, good racers who moseyed their way on through all of eliminations and turned on the final win light. You want to start it out with stock eliminator. Leo Glassbrenner, hometown runner. Well, I say hometown. He's from there. He races there, but now he lives in Tennessee. So making the trip out, he leaves his stuff out. But Leo Glassbrenner got that fast Copo that he runs, and the guy's won there before. So there's no reason why he shouldn't win there.
And I thought it was cool to see Joe. Obviously no chance of repeating, but a cool way to see Joe in the final to close it out. Flying that number one all year long. After him and Hal had such an amazing year last year. Didn't quite work out for him this year, but it was cool to see him, in the final pair to send it out. And congrats to Leo, man. Gonna keep the number one out here on the West Coast, and I think that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. One thing that I would like to make note of, and it's one of those things why we kind of started this podcast, right? To touch on some of the things that don't get notability or in the spotlight as much. Ray Vickers, he lives in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay. And with all the government shutdown and whatnot, he could not make his flight on Wednesday. They canceled it and he couldn't get another flight. My dude drives to the train station, hops on a train. He goes all night long to California. He gets to California at 7 a.m., hops on an Uber to the track at 7:45, and he's up there for first round of stock eliminator.
Dude, one of the coolest stories I've heard in a long time about someone who's just not willing to quit, and multiple times throughout that series of events, he could have said, you know what, it's just not meant to be. And you find a way, you get there just in the nick of time, man. Super cool.
If our podcast had a Never Rest Award, or this could be the one and only Never Rest Award that we give out, I'm going to go ahead and give that one to Ray Vickers. That's just pure dedication and love for the sport, and I love to see it. It's all the naysayers and keyboard warriors that were hating on the decision, and this guy's traveling all night on a train to get there to go run the NHRA World Finals. Like, it's phenomenal.
It's committed, baby, and that's what it's all about, man. And that's what a lot of folks are made of in this game. You see, if it wasn't him, there's probably 5 other stories. Not to diminish his story, but that's the kind of people that drag race. It's the kind of people that hop trains to get there. It's the kind of people that build transmissions in their bathtub at the hotel. And so. Super cool. Doesn't surprise me to hear a story like that coming out of the World Finals, but super, super inspiring. And I hope I would make that decision too, if given the chance. I'd like to think that we've all got that in us, but pretty awesome, man. Definitely Never Rest Award winner.
No Congrats, doubt. Ray Vickers, on our first ever Never Rest Award.
The inaugural. We'll probably go 7-8 episodes before we remember to do it again. So get to sit on the throne for a little while.
Moving on to Super Stock. How about John Calvert picks up his first national event win in, 10 or 15 years is what I think I heard. He's got a really, really fast Cobra Jet. That thing's still on 9-inch slicks, I think, but it carries him out there. It's phenomenal.
It's smooth, man, the way that thing leaves. And yeah, dead 9 beats dead 0. Ryan didn't quite do the job he needed to do up front, but he did everything he could possibly do at the other end and puts it dead 0, but dead 9's good enough to get inside of that with the reaction time advantage. And John Calvert claiming another win for D7. 2 for 2 right out of the gate.
2 for 2. One of the next coolest stories I've heard in a long time. In Super Gas, we had Mr. Ed DeStout former world champ, and the world champ was quite a few years ago. I
Back
think
when
it
it
was
was a Winston world champ.
in the late 80s.
Yeah, buddy.
Mr. DeStout got it done. The coolest thing about this is he has no throttle stop, at least electric or air. He has a bolt underneath his gas pedal that he uses to tune that thing. And my dog lights it up dead on, I don't know, 3 times this weekend.
Yeah, man. Just doing it the old school way, cut a light, run the number. And I got a lot of love for anyone who can do it like that. Or guys that are racing sticks in stock or super stock or something like that, right? Where you're at a clear disadvantage, given the technology that's out there. But my man, at the ripe young age of 80 years old, gets it done. And I'm not one to point at that too often. As someone's age being something that would limit them from being able to get it done, especially in a sport like drag racing. But pretty cool, man, to really kind of bookend a career. The way that just the math says he don't have a whole lot more runs in him, and so compared to how many he's had up to this point. And yeah, man, the last time he won a championship, round, it was I think he was wearing the hat in the car. He had the Winston hat on, like a 40-year-old ball cap. So pretty sweet, man, to see that happen.
I'm probably definitely wrong, but that very well could be the same exact car he won his world championship in the late 80s.
Well, you look at it, it might be, man. It's no, I mean, they didn't just roll that thing out of Larry Jeffers last week for sure, right? As noted by the bolt under the gas pedal. No, that thing's been around, man. And I think that's cool too, man. I mean, I know a lot of guys don't get attached to their cars anymore. It's a different culture, and they're viewed as a tool, and cars come and go. And to some extent, I think we all get that. But when you can hang on to something and it all works out that you're still, wheeling the same old hot rod 30, 40 years later, there's something pretty special about that.
Very cool. Congrats again, Mr. Ed DeStout.
Stout, baby. Another all D7. So D7's 3 for 3 as of right now. And we can acknowledge that because of the withdrawals and the weather, right? D6 and D7 had the odds in their favor, I think, by the time the first green light came on, but there were still other people there.
I still think that with all the world championships on the line, there was quite a few other people that could have taken the cake.
Yeah, enough that it wasn't 0, but we'll acknowledge, we'll be fair,
Well,
it wasn't Indy. It wasn't like we were at Indy. I get
that's
it.
True. This next one, we're going to go 4-4. We had another double D7 final. We had Brian Ward taking on Ed Olpen.
Ed.
Poor Ed. Brian.
Somebody got to put some mirrors on that thing for Ed, man.
I think they had those in 68, didn't they?
Oh, buddy. He's going, and you can see, Brian gets a little squirrely when he lets go, and Ed's out on him. I mean, Ed's moving, and he's got 200 feet on him. And it's like, buddy, you got to look over. He's not coming. He's not. But you're like, Ed's not going to mess this up. Sure enough, I think he's 2 thou under, and I know he got on the brake a little bit, but not enough. Not enough.
But let's be honest. In a top sportsman car, you're sitting back where that pillar is, and you're not seeing anything when you look
he wasn't hearing nothing either.
You're not seeing nothing.
Yeah, tough. I mean, Ed don't mess that up very often, man. Tough break for him. And Brian Ward gets to, they've been working, trying to get that car right, trying to make some moves there and, make it all the way to the final round. So pretty cool. Good job by them.
A pretty impressive thing I saw from Brian Ward. The one and only qualifying hit they got didn't make it down. Okay. Didn't make it down at all. Like, he maybe got a reaction time, but that's the only good number he got. First round, he goes out there, puts it dead on the number, driving that thing.
Yeah,
and
man.
Then the next round, so I think he was dialed 675 on that lap. Okay, and the next round I'm watching, and his guy goes red. He goes 670. He's holding 5. He was holding 5 in a top sportsman car. That's crazy.
Yeah, man, you're throwing if you're doing that, you got a shoot throw plan somewhere before the finish line. And I don't remember if it was him or Steinke or maybe both at Seattle, but we had quite a few top sportsman guys just couldn't get her down, in qualifying, and same kind of deal. Come out first round, and they're all dead 4, dead 7, doing what they got to do. So yeah, no, props to Brian, and he put himself in that position, right? I don't want to say it was gifted to him because he worked and he did his thing, right? That was Ed's race to win, though, and old boy just didn't look. We're gonna have to put some more Lexan, over there or something for my guy. But yeah, tough break. But great job for both of them to get to the finals. And yeah, you're 4 for 4, D7 showing out so far.
This one will move to D6. Our top dragster winner and world champ, Mr. Casey Plaisir.
Super impressive run for Casey. He's a nominee for MVP of the week. He had to win. Jessica goes down early, not going to be able to get it done, and so the only one left is him, and he gets all the way to the final. Steinke nowhere to be found, and that is what it is. I know that wasn't a Casey thing. If it was anything, that was an Aaron thing. And, like I said, Casey put himself in the position to be there to begin with. He got all the way to the final. He did everything he needed to do. And that was it, man. And he's your world champ.
Let's talk about kind of the emotional roller coaster that was Top Dragster. So first off, you got Darian. He's leading the pack right now, okay? And all Jessica has to do is turn on one light, win the light, and she takes over the points, right? First round comes around, she turns on the win light. Points lead change. Jessica's in the lead, and she's probably on cloud 9, right? You got Casey Plaisir. He's got to win the race. You're Jessica. You're still in. You got to move to third round, and you lock it up, right? Well, third round comes along. Her win light doesn't come on, and it's like, wow, Casey, the door's wide open for you, dog. Just go do your thing. And guess what? He did the damn thing.
He did the damn thing, and he won the damn race. Yeah, I mean, and it's been kind of a roller coaster down the stretch. In that class, as we've watched, top dragster, top sportsman, super comp, all of them, super gas, right? That's how you want it to go down. That's the kind of tension you want at the world finals. And everybody got their little taste for just a minute, and ultimately Casey is the one who ends up cashing in. But you can expect that Jessica, obviously Darian's always going to come hard every year. When you're that close, though, those guys are going to come out swinging hard next year. So, hell of a way for them to all finish. But ultimately, congratulations to Casey getting it done.
Yes, sir. One of the ones that isn't from D6 or D7, our comp winner, Mr. Jason Grima. But let's think this through. Is he on the west side of Australia? Does he live on the west side? I don't know.
I don't know. That's a good question, and a funny little story. My good buddy Matt Clark, former top sportsman, racer, and winner down in Australia, owns Torque Calibration Services, and he's big into Aussie racing, right? He hasn't raced in a while, but he's still involved on different pit crews and some fuel altered stuff. And he was telling me last week how the Aussies really don't like how us American folk talk about world champions. Really irks them a little bit. So I told him after Grima won that since they don't like that business, then he had to claim that he won the California finals and not the world finals, because I know they don't like that business down there. And I told him, he's basically Southern Canada, Australia and Canada, basically the same thing. They're all Brits anyway. And they hate that down there too. They hate it when you call them Brits. So no, but we had a little fun with it. And, it's cool to see, we were talking about it last week, right? The talent, if you want to be the best of the best, you have to come to the NHRA, right? If you're class racing. And so that's what Jason did. And then he got it done. So he claims, I think his number is 800. So he's claiming D8 down there in Australia. We'll give it to him, man. 6, 7, and 8. We'll ride with you, Jason. But yeah, good job to him taking the trophy back to Australia.
Matty Clark, if you're out there, let us know if he's from the West Coast on Australia.
Yeah, is he? Where's he at? Because we might not want to claim him. If he's out there on the east side, if he's the equivalent of D1, we don't want anything to do with him out here. Take that back to the outback.
And our last and final winner of the world.
Well, what about Ryan Warder taking out Jeff Lane, right?
Oh.
Ending Jeff Lane's hopes. Couple D6 guys, right? And that's not the matchup that either one of them wanted, because Ryan, I know, couldn't have won it, and he certainly didn't want to keep Jeff from winning it, but that's exactly what he did. And Ryan took out Jeff Lane, and we'll talk a little bit about the final championship. Jeff Taylor able to seal it up, but Jeff Lane's dreams, kind of a tale of two seasons for him after posting a perfect score on the divisional trail, the one divisional where he could improve, and gain himself 20 points in Vegas. Jeff Taylor takes him out, and then can't get it done in Pomona, man. And it's just really a tale of two seasons between the divisional run and his run on the national scene for Jeff Lane. Tough break for him, but a hell of a season for sure.
It is kind of ironic, I guess, that you bring up that Ryan beat Jeff. If you think back to last year, Cody, Jeff's son, beat Ryan for the world championship. Ryan finished number 2, so it's a little bit of payback. I don't know, but it's interesting to think about that.
Yeah, man, all works out in the end, and but congrats to Jason Grima. Where does that put us? We got one more.
Last one, Mr. Chad Weber, your Super Comp world champion, world finals champion. And that's something you can never take away from him.
No, man, pretty amazing. He had to win the race. And what did he do?
He won the damn race.
My man Jordan Pratt draws Chris Whitfield for round number 1.
They're parked right next to each other.
They're good buddies, man. They're there together. They're repping Team Elite. Like, these dudes are bros. And you know who took Chris Whitfield out at the D7 divisional?
Mr. Jordan Pratt.
Jordan Pratt's got his number, like Jeff Taylor's got Jeff Lane's number. And I talked to Jordan after that, and he was absolutely sick because he threw a lap down on Chris. And Chris wasn't bad, but Jordan was really good. And and for Chris to have to sideline it from round 1 on, it's one thing to make it to the semis and it doesn't work out, but he's out first round. His day was like 11 minutes long, from the time he goes to his car to the time he's grabbing his losing time slip, and he's done. And there's nothing else he can do. 10, 11 minutes for him, and it all goes up in smoke if Chad Weber can get it done. And boy, did he. Congrats to Chad Weber, man.
Yeah, it was a day that I was watching Chad pretty close. I'm pretty good friends with the Weber family, but man, he was driving pretty lights out. The numbers weren't exactly perfect, but they were definitely. He was making his runs better than his opponent, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was looking back today at it, and it's like, man, like you said, none of the numbers were stellar. There's no round that, he had a couple. I think he was like, maybe he was 9 or 11. Like, he was pretty good on the tree. But otherwise, he's 25 total-ish, pretty much all the way through, 30 total. But he's able to drive the stripe and make the right decision at the big end and keep turning them on. So, and that's the thing, right? You don't have to be 00, take 00 every time, right? If the other guy ain't, and if you can consistently be 25 total,
you're going to turn on a lot of win lights.
You're going to turn on a lot of win lights, especially if right? You have the awareness look, I'm going to be 25 total. So I got to figure out a look. I got to come up with a plan because this is where I'm at today, um, and that's what Chad did. And, and Doug Johnson's no slouch. Like,
No.
Doug won Seattle this year. I think he had 2 other wins this year. He kind of had a resurgent year this year. He's been in the game a long, long time. And Doug was on point all year this year. So
they say you get a lucky round, and I'm here to say, and I don't think Chad would disagree with me, but that final was definitely his lucky round. Doug's 00 something and 2000.
I think 00 better than whatever he was. I think it was better than Chad.
Oh, he was way better.
Yeah.
I say way better, but I think Chad was back to his typical 20, and Doug had him all tied up, and then came out 2,000 under.
Yeah, man. Tough break for Doug. That was his race to win, and what would have capped off, like I said, what's been a really resurgent year for him. I know he's not, of course he'd want to win, right? But I think as he looks back at the totality of his season, Doug's pretty happy with how it went down this year. And, obviously, Chad's on cloud 9. Emmons gang in the house.
Oh yeah. And I agree with Terry here. Driving under that kind of pressure, under those conditions, I think Chad did a wonderful job. Can't agree with you more, Terry, on that one.
Well, he kept his cool, man. He didn't try to do something outside of what had been working. You know what I mean? He didn't do something crazy, make some weird move. Like, he just trusted in himself. He trusted in what his car had been doing. He trusted in what he's seeing on the slips and what he's seeing on his data. And he stuck to it. And I think in that spot, if there's any time where there's a temptation to do something outside of what you'd normally do, it's in that moment, right? Like, where you got to keep your cool and like just stick with the plan. So, I think that's a good point for sure.
Another thing that I'd like to touch on here is during those last couple of rounds, they were getting hit by intermittent little sprinkles here and there. So it was just delaying the race, just that much more. And I don't know about you, but if I know I'm in the final round for a world championship and you're making me wait 30 minutes, an hour longer, and it just keeps getting more and more delayed, I'm gonna fold up.
Well, and it was crazy because y'all had that rain that was like raining at different parts of the track, but not at others. Because I'd see a camera angle with rain on the lands. I mean, you could see it. And then 2 minutes later, they're like, "All right, we're back to racing." I'm like, "Wait, it was how did you guys do that so fast?" Like, it was. I just saw it was raining, but it was raining, in the sand pit, but not on the track. Like, weird stuff. So, yeah, pretty wild way, and keeping the tension high. Like, right, the tension was high all the way into the night, into those final rounds, and like we've said a million times, right? Like, you couldn't have really, for the sportsman's classes, you really couldn't have drawn it up any better.
Mm-hmm. It honestly was good choice by NHRA to get it done. And like we talked about earlier, getting it done on Thursday was the best decision they've probably made in a long, long time.
If there's any downside to it, now they've done it and they know they can do it.
Right. Now they're gonna do it. I was actually talking to my sister. I said, how long before we're going straight into first round at every race?
Every Thursday, baby, one and done. You guys are out of there. Yeah, man. No, I thought about that. I'm like, man, someone needs to hang the rods out of this thing just to slow things down a little bit. Now they're on to something. So kind of funny. We'll see, man. But yeah, I'm glad it worked out. And yeah, it was I don't want to see it happen all the time, but it was pretty neat to have that much racing for that long matter, right? Because the normal format, it's just such a different format, and it ain't like that. And I feel bad for folks not getting time runs, but I love me some drag racing. One of the things I don't really particularly love is sitting through the sportsman class time runs. Yeah, man. I mean, those can grind on a little bit. I don't mind being in the booth for them, I suppose, but yeah, maybe we're on to something here.
Well, not only did we crown some NHRA national event champions, we also crowned some NHRA world champs.
We sure
Some of these
did.
champions were crowned in Las Vegas. Most of them were crowned in Pomona. But why don't we get started with Stock Eliminator? Do you want to hit us with the top 5?
Top 5. Bubba Linky locked this thing up back when they finished. I believe it was the second leg of the VMP divisional at the Dutch. So he locked this up quite a few weeks ago, but Bubba finishes 677, gets it done for Bubba, followed by Jeff Strickland, John Foley Jr., Cooter, and then Steve Foley. So, or John Gray Jr., sorry. So Bubba, Jeff, John, Cooter, and Steve Foley. Your top 5 in Stock Eliminator.
Our honorable mention of D6 and D7 finishers, Jody Lang finished number 10 in the world. One of the things I'd like to point out, Bubba Linky won 4 times this year. Stock Eliminator, if you can win 1 time or 2 times a year, that's a great start. But 4 times, I think that's a magic number for a world championship.
I mean, if you've got this thing locked up basically by Dallas, I mean, because what it was the week, same week as Dallas or the week after Dallas, I guess. You had to have had a heck of a year. You know what I mean? When you can shut her down after Stampede of Speed, and he didn't even need to go there, right? So it's like, what a year for Bubba. And I think Jody, you mentioned Jody. I think I saw that Jody's divisional title is his 18th.
Wow.
Or something like that. So shout out to Jody. Obviously one of the goats out here.
Wouldn't put it past me. Moving into Superstock, Justin Lamb had 4 event wins this year, just like Bubba Link.
He did. 691 gets it done. 2 points ahead of Cooter. So, we talked at length about Justin last week. An improbable run, certainly a guy that could do it and has it in him. And considering what the final, challenge was, right? The most perfectly suited guy to go win when you need to win at Las Vegas is Justin Lamb. But heck of a run for Cooter, hung on for dear life all the way to the end. Kevin Helms, Todd France, and Brad Burton line out your top 5.
And our D6, D7, and I threw D5 in there too because they're part of us, right? They don't get the spotlight they deserve either. They're
it's a little bit of especially with no Bandamere, it's a little bit of a stretch these days, but we'll allow it.
They're kind of like the long lost stepchild, right? So Brad
if
Burton,
we get New Mexico, we can take D5 too.
Brad Burton, Leo Glassbrenner, Evan Kowalski, and Jody Lang round out the top 10. That's a high. That's 5 of the top 10 are from the West Coast. That's pretty impressive for our Superstock gang.
Yeah, man, we don't play around here.
Heck no.
I'd expect nothing but that.
Up next, the aforementioned Chad Weber, 3-time winner this year. Take it away with the top 5.
Yeah, Chad Weber, 635, I think, is what ended up getting it done for Chad. Whitfield comes up 12 points short. Big Sherman Adcock, number 3. Jason Kenny, who looked like for a long time the kind of challenger to Chris, especially mid-season and kind of coming down the stretch early, but finishes number 4th. And then Jeff Chaney, who also had a shot late, winds up in the 5th spot in Super Comp.
And while we're at it, why don't we name our MVP, the greatest of all time of this week?
Of the week, man, for me, it's got to be Chad Weber. Like I said, I think Casey's in the running. In the end, he didn't have to race it out, or else I might have had a longer discussion with myself about which way to go there. But Chad Weber on command, man. All you got to do is go win the World Finals in Pomona under some extreme circumstances that you have probably very little experience in. That's all you got to do, man. And you're the world champ. And he says, okay. And he goes and gets it done. So Chad Weber, greatest of all time of the week for me, for sure.
I second that. No argument there. Chris Whitfield, Gabe Torres, and Jeff Cheney were our West Coast top teners. Moving on to Super Gas. We're good. JJ Brock, 2-time winner this year. That means he put up a hell of some other races to have to get this done, because I know there was some other folks up there in the top 10 that won a couple as well.
Well, and that's the consistency, right? You got some guys who throw up 2 or 3 big scores, and that carries them, or in Jeff Lane's case, throws up some huge scores on the divisional trail, and that kind of carries him to the end. In this case, JJ, with just 2 wins, it means he's going deep no matter what, right? He didn't win every race by any means, but he's a dude that you were going to find in the late rounds, 6-8 cars, pretty much every weekend. So, and one thing that I think is cool, I'm not super familiar with JJ. I am familiar with his car, and the fact that we have a car with a roof and doors sitting atop the Super Gas standings at the end of the year, I think is a cool thing. They're kind of a dying breed these days, and so pretty cool to see one bad door car sitting at the top. I mean, look at that thing. That thing's mean. That's mean, baby. So yeah, congrats to JJ, man. Val Torres, a valiant effort. He ended up having to face Evan Kowalski, which was not an ideal situation for either of them, really. Val finishes number 2, 26 points behind. Trevor Larson, 34 points behind in third. Nathan Prose and the aforementioned Evan Kowalski rounds out the top 5.
Val Torres, Trevor Larson, and Evan Kowalski were our West Coast top teners. I should have put this up a lot sooner. I'm sorry, but here's our world champs.
Where are we going next?
You want to hit up Top Dragster one more time?
Casey, a sub 600 score. That's I think not surprising in one of the top classes. But 595 gets it done. Jess Keesburn finishes 18 points behind when it's all said and done. Darian's 27 points back. Then Jeff Strickland and Jim Prevost. So Jeff Strickland in the top 5 in 2 different classes. So that's pretty cool.
I forgot to mention that Evan Kowalski also finished top 10 in Super Stock and Super Gas. Jody Lang finished top 10 in Stock and Super Stock. Casey Plaisir won 3 times this year to secure that Top Dragster victory, and Dylan Howe and Ty Gaynor round out the top 10 from D7.
Where did either one of them finish?
I think they were both a little bit lower on the top 10, but top 10 nonetheless. Ty Gaynor number 8 and Dylan Howe number 7. So
sweet, man.
Pretty stout year for both of them boys, especially Ty, with this being his first full season in a long car.
Yeah, no, putting the single digit.
It technically wasn't even a full season because he didn't even claim out. So
yeah, no, putting the single digits on the scoop's going to be pretty cool for those boys. And like we talked last time, the future of our sport's in pretty good hands. We got some really mean young talent who's performing at a high level and going to carry some of these classes on into the future. So great job to Ty and Dylan.
Another top category, top sportsman, was pretty down and dirty at this year's World Finals. Both Dan Lafferty and David Cook Jr. both had shots. They both, unfortunately, bowed out round number 1.
Yeah, man, I preached for weeks that David Cook Jr. is going to figure out how to score 12 points and wasn't able to get it done. I saw Darian in the house. I don't know when he flew out or flew in. I don't think he was entered at all in anything, but I did see him on the premises in some camera shots and stuff. So out there watching the show, and he gets it done. 568 points, a score that he had posted for the entirety of this podcast, at least, right? So at least 6-7 weeks. Just sitting there sweating on the top side, both sides. It hangs on. David Cook Jr. number 2, Dan Lafferty tied 12 points behind with David Cook. Doug Crumlich and then Jeff Brooks rounds out the top 5 and top sportsman.
Top sportsman was another category where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 West Coasters in the top 10. So very good job for our top sportsman representatives.
and a point of order to the folks from NHRA who were in the booth with me at Seattle. I said, look at that. 5 of the top 10 and top sportsmen out of D6 or D7. Oh yeah, it's early. You just wait. It won't last. Well, look at that, boys. West Coasters in the house and top sportsmen. Quickly becoming.
Tell us names.
It was Galvin. It was Galvin and Rice and Mike Rice. So Jason and Mike, there you go. Eat that. And top sportsman's quickly becoming my favorite class to watch. When I was at the Vegas Nationals 3-4 years ago, I went by myself. I was just lone wolfing out there and having the time of my life. And they have that little rooftop bar set up down at the finish line, which was really great for top sportsman racing because you could grab a brewski and stand at the finish line and watch people drive stripe at 200 miles an hour. And that really kind of finished setting the hook for me. I've really started to follow it a lot more closely. And I love top sportsmen these days, man. So a lot of fun watching them all, do work coming down the stretch. And it was really cool that, some of our local guys, some of the people that we see a lot out here and we get to hang out with, performed so well this year on the world stage. So congrats to all the top 10ers and top 5ers.
And last but certainly not least, Jeff Taylor racks up 4 wins and locks in his 4th, I believe, world championship.
I think it's his 5th. I think it's his 2nd in comp, and I think he has other ones. I think it's his 5th. It could be his 4th, but I think it's his 5th. See if maybe someone on the live stream will chime in, but I think it was number 5.
Where you at, Walt?
Yeah, where you at, Walt Walker? We need you, buddy. I told you, man, that dude was on a mission the last 6 weeks of the season. He had Jeff Lane's number when that's whose number he needed to have. And he's, super team, right? If you're going to assemble a comp team, that's the one I want, if all I got to do is drive and I've got Nickens and the boys and everybody on the job, like I'm feeling pretty good, and it worked out for Jeff. And it didn't work out for the other Jeff, and when they were talking to Taylor after the race, that's kind of how he put it, it was back and forth, throwing their best shots. And at the end of the day, they're able to get it done. He finishes 30 points ahead of Jeff Lane. Joe Carnershaw, who sat at the top for a long time, he's 40 points back. David Dupps, and then Taylor Chemiskey rounding out the top 5.
We had 3 bad A comp racers in the top 10. Jeff Lane, Matt Harris, and Kevin Carter rounding it out.
Carter boys did some work this year, man. Kevin and Dean had a heck of a run both. It was fun to watch them. They lit one of them on fire in the burnout up at Seattle and had to make a quick turnaround. I got to go down and watch them kind of turn that thing around in pretty record time. Pretty impressive outfit that they run, pretty impressive program, and a heck of a job by the Carter boys this year.
Something that we don't touch on too often, the top alcohol categories, but they are both from the West Coast. So we got Sean Bellemere scoring a win a championship in top alcohol funny car, and back-to-back champion Sean Cowie in top alcohol dragster.
Yeah, that's one. Joey's not the type that's going to dwell, but as somebody who's a fan of Joey, it's one that I'm going to wonder about what might have been. Sean Cowie goes out round number 1. And it's, the ball's in Joey's court. Joey gets the win and he's on to round 2. I mean, he has to win the race, but with Cowie out, who's the odds on favorite now? It's got to be Joey, right? And so, could Joey have gotten number 6 had they ran it out? Boy, I think there's a decent chance. But we'll just always have to wonder, and Cowie had a great season. Right? I don't say that to diminish his championship. He put himself in that position, right? But what up, Casey? The champ's in the building. We got the
Tuning
champ
in
in the house.
live from the
That's
Mission
right.
Foods Banquet.
Hashtag world champs. That's right.
I
Tell
think
Galvin to change the trophy.
y'all need to put us on the big screen.
Patch us in, Casey. Patch us in, buddy.
If you don't thank your favorite podcast in your speech, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. We won't come back next week. Yeah, it's like I said, it would have taken quite the Herculean effort for Joey to capture number 6, but it was there. It was on the table, and his number 1 competition was on the trailer. So would have been cool to see them finish that one out. But it is what it is, man. Congrats to Sean Cowie.
We know we're gonna get some stuff done if we have Casey talking to Galvin.
Right? Oh, you tell me change that trophy immediately. It better not say national champion one more year. Not one more year.
World champions, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
We got Galvin. You can make 2 good calls this week, and we would be stoked about it.
Casey's a great example. His car has to go through customs. It doesn't get any more world than that, man. So, Mr.
Grimm had to get through customs. So, world it is.
Yeah, man.
We're not talking about Canada.
I see Jeff Kreider said it must be slow going at the banquet. It's on a weather hold. They're on weather hold at the banquet. I'm just kidding. You believed it. Like it could be true considering the way things have went this weekend.
You never know at this point.
See, if you're Jordan Vance, you have to have had the foresight to put that on the big screen, like at the beginning of the banquet. It says we're on a weather hold. I hope he did.
That would be the ultimate prank to pull on them boys.
Anyway, have fun with it at this point. You want to talk about that a little bit? Where do you want to go from here? I want to get into that a little bit, but where do you want to go first?
You want to get into what? Sorry?
I want to get into the ultimate decision at the end to close this thing out with the cancellation of the finals, but we can go wherever you want to go first.
Okay. Well, just because the NHRA season is wrapping up, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're done racing this year. Vegas has the Streetcar Super Nationals this year, and they got some bracket racing, they got some index racing, and if you can make it to that, I heard it's a pretty dang good event. Unfortunately, I've had some prior arrangements, or I would be there. So if you're out there on the West Coast looking for somewhere to race this weekend, you could go to Streetcar Super Nationals in Las Vegas, and then followed it up with next week the Thanksgiving Bracket Nationals. There's 4 or 5 granders in Super Pro, and it's pretty dang reasonable. It's $300 for 4 or 5 granders. So if you want to make a trip, one last hoorah of the year, come on out to Vegas.
You definitely should. I must have missed both texts where you told me which car you're putting me in for those 2 races. I don't know how many. Well, maybe we'll ask the chat. I don't know how many episodes we have to do before I change the name on the side of my car to Theobald Motorsports. I don't know when I become a member of Theobald Motorsports, but that's actually my whole angle with this. I didn't let you in on that, but I mean, you're a decent guy and all, but I want to go super comp racing, so I've got a strategy here.
I would let you run the super comp car, but it currently has the rods hanging out of it. So maybe if we can use your Trailblazer motor, we could just build a comp car at this point.
I got a 4.2. I think it's interesting that you picked the one car with the rods hanging out the bottom. That's the one you'd let me drive. I got an all aluminum 4.2, baby. We need to get a hold of the Neffs. Get a hold of Mr. Neff, and you get some advice on how we strap a turbo onto that thing. And we'll hang one out the side. And dude, comp, I mean, that's the one, right? I don't have the money for that, but I could drive comp, let go and hang her to the wood, baby. I might run out of index quicker than your average comp guy, but I could do that. There we go. The people have spoken.
People want to put Troy in the CUDA.
It don't have a button though, huh?
Nope, you got to swap the
Yeah.
feet.
Oh, you don't want to see me in that, but that's a waste of my time and your money right there, man.
Now you're just being picky. You don't want the car with the button, and you don't want the car with the rods hanging out of it. What do you want,
I
Troy?
mean, I mean, I could tell you what I'm looking for. I have a picture in my head, but no,
Um,
there's a cool race. And that triple index, that streetcar super nationals has become kind of a big thing. Um, I know a couple guys that used to live out here, now live out in Oklahoma, who used to go down there quite a bit for that. And my buddy Anthony Guida won. I think he won the whole dang thing, the whole triple index deal, one year down there, and had a good time. It's a huge race. I think it's pretty slow, long turnarounds. You got to have a name tag.
yeah. So people don't know what brother I am most of the time. So I pretty much answer to anything. So if you just start doing that, you could just get in the mix, right? You don't even have to have the right last name. Just say I'm one of them Theobald boys, probably the one you don't see very much.
Maybe that's what I do. If I do a little bit of different grooming and do a little with my hair, I'll just hop in and I won't say nothing. Maybe no one would know.
Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, let's wrap it up with the pros being canceled. Tell me your thoughts on that.
It's one of those things that like they had no other choice, right? So it's not, anybody who's upset about postponing or like that's what there was nothing else that they could have done. Um, I think it's the conversation really is like, is it something that's common enough, or is it a big enough deal, even if it only happened once? Is it a big enough deal to make sure you're never even in that situation again, where that's a possibility? They're not going to change where the World Finals happens next year, and probably not the next year, and probably not all the way till 2033. My understanding is the current agreement runs through 2033, which would be 50 years. The first World Finals was ran at Pomona in '84. So the 50th anniversary of that would be in what is now the final year of their agreement. Before that, it was held at OCIR at Orange County, which of course is gone. But so I understand the history there. You know, I don't want to be someone who infringes upon that. It's a history that I appreciate as well, being a West Coaster. My whole life, that's where the World Finals have happened. I think this year we had enough of the races decided at Pomona that I think it still worked out there too. There's been plenty of years though where there's not very many classes that aren't already decided.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's not that it's not still special and all that, but there's been enough times that it's kind of anticlimactic that it's like, well, and that's not the track's fault. That's just the way the point systems are set up. That's the way the whole thing's set up. So a tough deal. They had no other choice. But I think, if you're not thinking about it, I think that, you're probably not doing a good job at your job. If you work for the NHRA and you're not thinking about it, like I said, I don't think any big changes will happen. Maybe they'll have a more robust contingency plan next time, or something. But
to me, this was the only choice they could make, just purely off of logistics and, let's be honest, off of money. It's going to cost a heck of a lot of money to keep all the employees on both the race teams and the NHRA and hotels and the banquet and everything else to even postpone it 1 week. It's just not feasible. Moving the World Finals to a different place or a different time, to me, that's a non-issue. I don't think that we should be big dealing that. It's happened one time in the last 50 years. Like, most of the time we're in short sleeves and a t-shirt, and Mother Nature's going to take its course on any event, not just World Finals. Heck, the wind's going to blow in Vegas. That's just going to happen. So you can't control Mother Nature. It was just the unlucky circumstances we were dealt this year.
No, 100%. And yeah, so it's like anybody blaming NHRA is just looking for something to complain about. I do still think, and I brought this up a couple times over the last few weeks. I saw Jason Logan and Elon talking about it a couple weeks ago with Joe, and Joe brought it up. That I had brought it up. I see people running with it now. Not that they took it from me. I'm not the first one or the only one to suggest it this year or any other year for that matter. I think about what it might look like if you did have the World Finals at Vegas, right? And if you've got some issues that you want to fix if you're the NHRA. The NHRA Western Swing is one of them, right? You have less than full fields at Sonoma. You have less than full fields at Seattle. You have no Bandamere, so you don't even have the Western Swing the way you used to have it. At some point, we'll get one back. But, I mean, what's that? Probably still 5 years out. I don't know what the –
at least.
Right? Building the type of facility that the Bandameres are going to want to build in a state with the type of regulation for that kind of stuff that Colorado has, it's going to take some time. So what if you did Seattle, Sonoma, and Pomona? And Pomona was the SoCal Super Nationals. And in the pro classes, you got 1.5 points, right? A mid-season race where you get 1.5 points. Well, people got to go to that now, right? You got to go.
Oh, yeah.
And if you got to go to that one, you might as well just do Seattle and Sonoma too, right? The Western Swing has a big impact now. And you run down the Highway 101, right? You start in Seattle, you go down the highway to Sonoma, you go down the highway to Pomona, and then you head back out east or wherever you go after that, right? And if you do the 1.5 points, you preserve some of the, the importance of Pomona, right? It's not the championship still, right? I know it ain't the same, but you keep some gravity, right? Pomona is a big deal, a big opportunity for a big swing, and may very well be what decides the championship down the road, right? Whatever happened at Pomona. So you elevate the importance of that race by doing that. You clean up a lot of the travel. You move the D7 divisional 1 week earlier, or 2 weeks earlier. So now you go Dallas, Division 7, final divisional, and then World Finals are now at Vegas. If you can keep the same date on the calendar, right? NHRA has a stage at SEMA.
Oh, yeah.
That they used and had a lot of cool things. They did a lot of cool activations for sponsors and products and all that. Imagine if you're doing that with your newly crowned world champions, right? So you could save the Western Swing. You could move all the travel earlier in the year. You could finish up at Vegas on Halloween weekend, crown some world champs, have the banquet, do SEMA. I mean, what's not to love about that?
Not to mention it's Vegas. It's
100%.
It's almost kind of like a no-brainer. The history to me is very important, but logically, it does make more sense to have it in Vegas.
Especially if, and I don't know because I'm not on the inside, but if you think that it's unlikely that Pomona carries on after 2033, which I do think it's unlikely, why not find a way to go out with a bang, in a different way? Because if the final 5 or 6 years of the World Finals are going to have 10-car top fuel fields, how do you make the argument that Pomona was so important to everybody if only 10 cars are coming?
Yeah.
Right? Like even the people who couldn't win the title, like if winning the World Finals was super important, there'd be a full field. And at the way it's set up now, if you don't have a chance, a lot of people don't even come. And that's a problem for a sport who's desperately trying to become more and more mainstream, right? It used to be a mainstream sport when there was very few TV channels and very much, not as much televised sports. It kind of went into more obscurity as we've had more things and there's more content and there's more things for people to watch, and they're trying to bring it back, right? And they have a major network partner in Fox. So Fox sees that value. But if you've got empty stands and half full fields, you can't not think that's an issue.
No, absolutely not.
And I'm not saying that it's NHRA's fault. Like, I'm not trying to assign any blame on why the fields are short or all that. There's a lot of factors that go into that. Joe Costello pointed out a couple weeks ago, there's like 39 top fuel cars out there, right?
Oh, easy.
There's a bunch of them. They just don't all come to every race. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. That's a guy who's sitting in his home office in Oregon talking about how to fix a bunch of stuff that I, don't understand. And there's a lot of nuance and details behind the scenes that are not accounted for in that proposal. But on its face, it could be a pretty cool deal.
Well, if you have any ideas on what you think the NHRA should do schedule-wise, put them in the comments because we want to know. Another thing that we would like to know is we're sneaking up on that off season. Is there any topics you'd like to hear me and Troy discuss, talk about, or any guests that you'd like to see on this show? We've got quite the variety of people. Ideally, I'd like to have some more humor on this thing. Not that we're not funny, but maybe it's just us who think we're funny. But let us know if there's somebody that you'd like to hear from, and we're gonna start looking into our off-season schedule.
Well, we're gonna get Casey on here for sure, and talk to him. And I think we should get as many of these champs as we can get on. One thing I'd like to do next week, I'm gonna give you a little assignment. Next week, let's just do it. D6 and D7 class racers of the year in each of the respective sportsman classes. So you got to bring D7.
You got it.
I'll bring my D6 class racers of the year as according to me and my expert judgment.
Yep.
And you according to yours. And next week we'll crown the bracket breakdown class racers of the year in each of the classes in D6 and D7 here for 2025.
You got it.
All right, buddy. Always a pleasure to join you, my friend. Thank you so much. Thanks to everybody who's listening to what I don't know, it's episode 7, episode 8. We don't even keep count anymore around here. Hit the bell, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share it with your buddies. I don't know how many subscribers you're up to now. If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Facebook, keep doing that. But make sure you come over, subscribe, hit the subscribe button, Theobald Motorsports. Lots of cool content above and beyond what we do here. So check it out, show us some love, and share it with somebody else.
Sounds good.
All right, brother.
See you guys next Monday. Peace.
Later.